Hay poca gente que tiene, mucha gente que no tiene. Hay muchos políticos sueltos buscando lo que conviene. Hay mucha gente en la calle que no piensa en el de al lado. Hay muchos más televisores que niños bien educados. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Y hay poca gente que tiene, mucha gente que no tiene. Muchos políticos sueltos buscando lo que conviene. Mucha gente que no piensa en el de al lado. Muchos más televisores que niños bien educados. Buscando lo que conviene, mucha gente en la calle que no piensa en el de al lado, muchos más televisores que niños bien educados. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Well, thank you everybody. Have a good night. We got a really beautiful schedule today, so see you later.
All the time from Oil Street. The man with no hands. The man with no hands stumbled in from the social service labyrinth to your office, another of the men who negotiate the nether regions. He was mumbling, incoherent, but not just drunk or stoned. I've never seen anyone so tired, you say, amazed that exhaustion could ever be so palpable. The special hell for those who have no place at all to rest, no cave or refuge. He fell asleep in the chair beside your desk while trying to tell the tale of where he'd been and where he had to go. You let him stay there, sleep the only gift that you could give him then, or he could take with those maimed hands. His prosthetic claws lay beside him on the floor, clumsy hooks that chafed the stumps of flesh they clamped to. Those who travel to the underworlds lose pieces of themselves. Orpheus, Osiris, Persephone. None return whole. He slept in that hard chair for hours. You left him briefly for a conference, returned to find him gone, and with him his dead hands. That's just...
So these are some pieces that I put together over the last couple of years. This first one's called Heart of Open Mic Night. Follow the lights up streets and avenues, feeling tonight this Pacific Cafe. Here to sip good coffee, feeling wintry cool. Early evening, words and music rushes, slushes of cars past the storefront. Creative sparks, a map of our hearts, winding through the city. Somebody keep this going if I slip the local scene. I've got to know so well all about you. Thanks. That first piece, I read it out of the Macaulay Writers Atlas. It's another project I've been involved with. There's a few kicking around here somewhere of our second edition. It's a little chapbook of poetry, stories, photography that I collected from writers and artists in the Macaulay area. And it's actually our hope with the submissions that we received from our Gettin Gritty Inner City poetry contest that we'll publish another chapbook of poetry. So this next one is work in progress. Twilight fades on street side, ending poverty ends at 5. The agency minds, they close even if their hearts are open. Working for others street side, helping the poor out, well, I try. I still drive home every night to my comfortable place in the sky. Lying down street side, still wide and hard and flying high. Down by law, gravity and sprawl, no real sleep for the fallen. Keep your head up street side, stay up, way up, just survive. The concrete family cracks awake, a morning rush past days away. Always leave a little left on the street side. Find a way to where you're from, but you can never go home again. Just stay away, hide. This next one is called Grit. Thank you, Gary, for one of your prompts. This got me right. Actually, one of the great parts of this contest was that we utilized social media to its definite potential. We put writing prompts out on our Facebook page. We advertised this contest. And the majority of our entries came in through Facebook. So definitely thanks to Gary and his prompts, and thanks to Facebook. So Grit. What's under my feet? The grit is what saves me. Spring melting dog shit, used condoms, sleeping bag camp stuffed under the church bush, customers parking sign, glass smashed at the 99, supermarket sushi smushed into the pavement and plastic wrap stuck to my shoes, ashtray knocked over all empty of butts, the filter scattered sans tobacco one street over, sidewalk graffiti, eat your school, don't do vegetables, stay in drugs. Needles, 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 empty baggies, dead bedbugs. Thrashed mattress, soiled clothes, and dumpster hunters too. Lost keys and lighters, ripped down show posters, and the lost cat sign, wet in a puddle. What saves me and my feet as I walk about the grit, seeing truth where I go to work daily. So this next piece isn't technically a poem. It's more of a prose piece, but again, it was inspired by the inner city. It's called Mickey Rourke. Sitting down at one of the benches on Jasper, east off the Shaw Center, he stares out the river valley with an intent gaze for hours on end, and he does this daily. I see him there on the same bench pretty much every time I'm walking this strip. Sometimes I see him other places in the area, pacing on a corner, or giving counsel, I imagine, to a younger homeless person. This one time I heard him tell a kid, this is a great place to find dry butts, as they picked apart old half-finished cigarettes in a popular city ashtray tied to a street lamp, and they rolled the charred remains into a new smoke. The bottom of the ashtray was bust out, and underneath on the sidewalk a slurry of ash and filters. They walked off pleased as puff with their fresh roll. My sister works at the Federal Building downtown, a towering hulk of rose-colored glass, the Pink Palace we call it. She says the ladies working counter at the employment office have nicknamed this fellow Mickey Rourke. I can see it, maybe for the hard look on his face that never changes, or perhaps his built physique. Personally, he reminds me more of a shorter Darth Vader minus the mask, his curly long peroxide locks flowing off the blackest uniform of chunky goth boots, cargo pants, and a cape-like trench coat blowing in the constant wind and dirt of the city. One day, I'll sit down at the bench and ask him what he sees on his deep looks into the valley, its civilized mesh of trees and bike paths and bridges crisscrossing the river. What holds his thoughts there long enough to make this his perch, his temple? If If I still smoked, I'd spin up some drum tobacco and pick his brain for some street wisdom, because that's where I see him living. You're not there yet, I imagine him saying, and then he'll probably walk off and chuckle, thank me for the cigarette, and head down the city stairs into the valley like a sunset, his silhouette against the south sky like a raven.
It's called On Parole from Winter. And I wrote this, I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago, during the Poetry Festival, when I was out in the park right over here, and with 2 grandkids, and the place was full of kids, and then a storm blew in and started to snow. So it goes like this. On parole from winter, a bank of black clouds hovers off to the north. Now and then, a jagged flash streaks to earth, too far away yet for even a faint rumble to reach Giovanni Caboto Park, to alert adults in shorts and sandals that all too soon this instant village of toddlers under 5s, school kids of all colors, bright as rainbows, will scatter at the first cold gust, shriek and shield their eyes from grit blown out of lanes and gullies. Half a year's worth of traffic's traction. On this last Saturday of April, the first weekend day of playground weather, people who fled the sudden thunder watch from kitchen shelters where they waited out 6 months of snow for the hail and rain and cold to pass, for the next window between winters, the next swing and soccer recess. Hope everybody knows I got the grit in there. And David mentioned the prompt about the grit. Well, I had to try that prompt out myself to see if it worked. So here's a poem that came out of my own prompt about the grit. And I think it's safe to say this is probably going to be the only villanelle read here tonight. If you don't know what a villanelle is, come and ask me after, or Alice, Rayanne, a number of other poets around here could explain it to you. It's called Soup Line. Northern gale in my face, too fierce to feel. Frozen, rain-slicked sidewalks, smooth as glass. A ragged granite chip that bites my heel. This winter's discontent lurks dark and still behind glazed-over eyes, a worn-out mask. Northern gale in my face, too fierce to feel. Store shelves stocked with meat, cheese, bread to steal. The till and patrons' purses stuffed with cash. A ragged granite chip that bites my heel. In the Bible pushers' lineup for a meal, between them and me, a Jesus-wide crevasse. Northern gale in my face, too fierce to feel. I had a home and family, struck deals with white powder, and vaporized my past. A ragged granite chip that bites my heel. I'm naked now. I've nothing to conceal. 60 years hard labor for heaps of ash. Northern gale in my face, too fierce to feel. A ragged granite chip that bites my heel.